Hi, my name is Tom TX Wellham. Hello to you, good people of the interwebs. I'm just a normal guy, normal inverted commas, as normal as I can be. A little bit mad, but that's okay. And I'm just hopefully going to clear up a couple of questions about renewable energy and green tariffs. Number one question being, well, hang on, I'm still connected to the same wires as my next door neighbour who's not on a green tariff, so how could mine possibly be green? I'm also just going to cover what a REGO certificate is. I'm also just going to talk to you a little bit about smart meters and time of use tariffs and why that is the future and why that actually helps you reduce your carbon footprint even further. And full disclaimer, I do have a referral link down in the comments or the description of the video or wherever it is somewhere. If you click on that and sign up to one of the energy providers that I'm going to be talking to you about, then I get 50 quid, but you also get 50 quid, so it makes it even cheaper for you. There is also another couple of referral links there. A couple of my friends are on a different energy provider, and I said to one of them that I would include his link, and then my mate who clicked on my referral link for the small dishwasher tablets and washing machine tablets, and got me a little bit of a kickback. He said, oh, I'm also on that energy provider. So here's my link as well. So there's two links for one of the suppliers there. So I'm going to run through all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to jump straight in. Where's my thing? If I press this button, there we go. I'm going to jump straight in and look at this. So this is from the website which.co.uk. And what this is essentially is a ranking of energy providers and just how green they are. And you can see the greenest ones are at the top. There is a key at the bottom, so the dark green ones are basically pretty good. The medium green ones they're okay, and then the bottom ones are a bit lacking. I'm going to just explain the difference as well. So number one that I'm going to recommend for kind of maximum benefit, and in terms of the fact that you will be on a renewable energy tariff and you're ensuring maximum investment in renewables, is Good Energy at the top of that list there. And you'll see in the right hand side 122%, so more than 100% of what their energy customers use is actually bought direct from the generators. That ensures that if you go with Good Energy, you're ensuring that you get maximum investment in renewables because they buy 100% of what you use from renewable suppliers. Next on the list there is Ecotricity. They're not quite as good. You see it says circa 75% there, but it's still a big chunk that they actually buy direct from the renewable generators. I must also point out Good Energy and Ecotricity, as you can see from this table, they actually have at least some of their own renewable generation as well. They don't just buy it from the people, they generate some of their own. The next two down, Bulb and Octopus. Now these are the two that my friends and I are on. So I've got two links for Bulb and one link for Octopus, that's me. So they're sort of this medium green. They're not completely green because they don't have their own renewable generation and they don't quite buy anywhere near as much direct from renewable generators. And this is where we come onto this thing called the REGO certificates. And if I just tab, I should be able to go, whee! So this website, energypost.eu, there's an article from last year here. This is actually somebody who works for Good Energy who's kind of written this, and there's a nice succinct description here about what a REGO is. So I'll just read it from there because I can't say any better than he's done. So in the UK, REGOs certify that the power a consumer buys is renewable. As REGOs can be traded, that means that one supplier sourcing 100% of their energy from renewables and another that's simply buying enough of these REGOs to cover 100% of their output can both say that they're 100% renewable. Is there a difference? Yes. So there's one company who could buy next to nothing direct from the renewable suppliers, but they can quite cheaply buy these REGOs, which stands for Renewable Energy Guarantee of Origin. So it's certificates you can buy. Basically what that's doing is allocating renewables to you. So even if your energy provider doesn't directly buy from renewable suppliers, what they can do is buy these certificates so that piece of renewable energy we're allocating to you, we're putting your name on it. So that's not as good as Good Energy, which does directly buy from the renewable suppliers. But it's not all bad. So these REGO certificates are not all bad. And I've got another thing here somewhere. There we go. So this has come from the website regen.co.uk. Oh, it'd help if I press the button, you can see it. This has come from the website regen.co.uk. And what it shows on the very far left-hand side is where Good Energy is. They have some of their own generation and they buy all of their electricity from renewable suppliers. So they have 100% renewable energy, guaranteed. So for every unit of electricity you use, even though in literal terms you'll be using whatever is on the national grid, we're all always using whatever happens to be on the national grid. However, every unit you use as a customer of that energy provider is ensuring they are definitely buying it from renewable energy companies, generators. Back to the chart. So they're the best ones on the far left hand side. Now the middle column, the slightly less green ones. So this is your bulbs and your octopuses and those other ones that are on that sort of mid-green colour. So they have a mix of generation, so there's some renewable in there, there's some gas, there's some nuclear, there's just whatever they can get. So a proportion of their electricity may well be renewable, and for what's missing, where this REGO on this supplier here, so there's some renewable energy being generated here, where that's not being claimed, that REGO, that certificate, nobody else is using it, it's traded for a very low price. So for every unit of electricity you use, they are matching that to these REGO certificates. So in a way, they are still allocating renewable energy to you. So it's sort of a greened up energy tariff. You can, well, I am of the opinion that you can still claim that you are on a green tariff, because with these REGO certificates, there's only so many of them in existence because there's only so much being generated in renewable energy. So if 40% of our electricity comes from renewables. So if 40% of electricity users, if that makes sense, all say I want a green tariff and their supplier is all supporting it with the REGOs, we'll reach a point where there are as many people requesting REGOs as there are REGOs. So then supply and demand will take over. And unfortunately, capitalism has the answer. Basically, with that supply and demand throttling the price and people being priced in and out of renewables, it will ensure investment in renewables again, because we're kind of pushing the boundary on how many renewables there are. And at the very least, if you go with one of those sort of mid-green suppliers, you are at least showing willing. And then what we've got on the right-hand side there is some of the other suppliers. They're just buying electricity wherever it's cheapest. They're not too fussed about matching your use to the REGOs, hence why their REGOs go unclaimed and go to somebody else. So all of the people who are not on a renewable tariff, they're pretty much those people on the right-hand side. So the best bet is, if you can't afford to go with one of the top two suppliers on our list, where's the list? Let's go back to our list. If you can't afford to go with Good Energy or Ecotricity, the next few on the list are pretty good. I'm going to recommend Octopus for another reason as well. I've gone with them because they are still pretty green, as you can see from the list. They're still pretty green. They're the fourth one down on the list. They're not massively different from Bulb, and they buy a little bit less direct from the renewable suppliers. But the other reason for I've gone with Octopus is because I'm saving so much money. Now this only really works if you've got a smart meter. So if you've got a smart meter, you can go onto what's called their Agile Octopus tariff. And this brings me on to talking about smart meters and time of use tariffs. First of all, smart meters cannot turn your equipment on and off. It's an urban myth. The smart meter has no idea what load you are using in your house. It doesn't know whether you've just flicked the oven on and that's warming up, or whether you've flicked the kettle on and that's boiling. All it knows is 3 kilowatts is being used. It would be like saying that your water meter knows that you flush the upstairs toilet, not the downstairs toilet. It's crazy. Having said that, there is like one make and model of smart meter that can kind of learn the patterns. It kind of works out what thing you are doing. So if it suddenly detects like 8 kilowatts for about 5 to 7 minutes, it knows that it can kind of work out that's probably a power shower. So it's possible, but it's not like tin foil hat type time. So smart meters are great because what smart meters can do is measure your usage in half-hour slots. And what that means is you can be billed according to when you use the electricity. And it's not a new concept, so people have had like dual rate meters in the past, so like at 11 o'clock at night it would flick over to the cheaper meter, and then you'd have 2 meter readings, one for your daytime and one for your nighttime. And people on smart meters are effectively doing the same thing, where they have like a day rate, and then maybe they've got like an economy 7 type thing, or there's a few hours overnight. There's quite a few suppliers doing that now. But the difference with the Agile tariff is that it doesn't just do a solid block of price during the day and then a few hours at night on the cheap. It changes every half hour according to wholesale price. So when it is windy and when it is sunny, the price drops quite a bit. And at peak time, 4 till 7, that's when most people are using electricity. Demand is high, so the price goes up. And what that is encouraging me to do is to use electricity off peak. It's currently 5 past midnight whilst I'm recording this video, so my electricity at the moment is, I think I'm about 7 pence a unit or something right now. So with these agile tariffs, it's encouraging you to use electricity outside of the peak period, and that's very, very good, not just for your wallet, but also in terms of carbon intensity. By levelling the grid with time of use tariffs, we make the grid more efficient, less wasteful. That's good for the environment, but also keeps wholesale costs down. So that's why smart meters with time of use tariffs, as far as I believe, that is the future. Also, just going to mention electric cars at this point. Some cars, unfortunately not mine, but some cars have a feature called vehicle to grid. So at peak time, your car will actually feed into the grid. Then you're almost not drawing anything at all from the grid at peak time. And then when it's off peak, that car that's still plugged in, when demand is lower on the grid, can then charge up. So not only have you've kind of reduced the peak, you've also kind of brought the trough up a little bit, because it levels the grid. It's the future. It's all very nerdy and exciting, but that is the future. My top tip for the lowest bills, get a time of use tariff, something that allows you to kind of shift some of your load to off-peak periods, because it'll be lower in carbon and better for your wallet. Oh, I forgot the best bit. Sometimes prices go negative. If there's so little demand and it's like really windy, then prices can go negative. When that happens, they are literally paying you to absorb the excess generation on the grid, to the point where I know some people are sort of turning things on that they don't really need to turn on, which sounds wasteful, but you are still doing the grid a favour. They price it knowing that people will do this. It's preferable to do that than to try and shut down the generators and then have to fire them up again, because you kind of lose efficiency and waste, and there's wastage and stuff like that. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully that answers some of your questions. I'm just going to kind of leave you with a couple of these screenshots again. So this graph came from regen.co.uk, R-E-G-E-N. This is your list again. So top of the list is Good Energy, followed by Ecotricity, and then Bulb, Octopus, Co-op, and so on. And then some of these other ones down the bottom there, like Green Energy, not actually that green. Hope that's useful. Sorry it lasted so long. If you're still with me, well done. That's it. Bye.